Cord. Kozowitz.
Here.
Ryan.
Here.
Decker.
Here.
Miller.
Here.
All right, so the next one is approval of the agenda. Did everyone get a chance to look at the agenda?
Yes.
Okay, is anybody need any changes?
Do you have copies?
You having trouble hearing?
I can hear you.
Amanda, are you having trouble hearing?
No, I can hear you.
You can't hear her. Okay.
So let's
I need a microphone.
Yeah.
is that better? Can you hear us okay now?
I feel like I'm talking.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that's what the problem was last meeting. That was muted on the device. So now we know.
Okay. Okay, so we were at approval of the agenda. Do we need to make a motion?
I make a motion to approve this agenda
Do I get a second?
with time limits.
Second.
All right, so let's move on right into the lodging tax procurement process. That's coming from Steve.
Yeah, so just wanted to talk about how we can all partner together on this. So we have to follow our procurement rules, and then certainly you guys have interest in advising us on what we're spending our lodging tax dollars on. So just to kind of explain to you all, I talked to Jason a little about this. So you all had the special meeting, which was perfectly fine. Marty and I couldn't be there. But stemming from that meeting, there's no official documentation as backup. Oh, sorry. Okay. There was no official documentation as backup that we could attach to the purchase order and that type of thing. So the challenge there is we're subject to audits. So we're yeah.
I have my minutes, they were updated a few days after that meeting.
Yeah,
But
so
they are in the window.
right, I wanted to mention that. So the minutes are great for backup. However, you wouldn't consider them as backup till you guys have approved them at your next meeting. So what I was thinking is we could come up with some kind of a formal form that you guys sign off on at the meeting that says here's what we want to do to move forward that you've agreed on. We'll take that form, vet it, consider it, give you guys feedback if we need to, and then move forward with that so we have that as documentation for finances purposes in our procurement.
Those on Zoom, can you mute your microphone, please? Thank you.
Yeah, perfect.
Sure, that sounds good to me.
Yeah.
I didn't know exactly how to do
No,
it.
we're all kind
I
of
just
learning this
asked you,
together.
and
So
then,
Yeah,
kind
no.
of on the fly, so.
nobody did anything wrong. I just want to make sure that we're connecting what you guys are doing with our formal procurement processes and everything we need to make happen. So
Form's just fine, just tell me how to access it.
okay, we will. Marty's working on a draft, I believe, or
I did, I send it to you for
yeah, you did,
approval.
and it looked good.
It looks good.
So we'll get that out to you guys by email, so you have that.
Do you guys have standard operating procedures for your boards? So like I manage a business, we have to write out standard operating procedures, check. Theoretically, anybody can walk in, pick up the SOP and do anything we do.
Yeah.
But I was thinking that might be helpful to have for like your boards.
It's a great question. So historically, we've used Colorado Municipal League. They have a guide for boards and commissions. The problem with that is that they're trying to make a guide that would be useful for the 150 whatever municipalities we have in Colorado. So there's really not a one size fits all. We're working right now on drafting what we call rules of procedure for the city council. And then with that, we're going to be drafting boards and commission rules of procedure as well, which would essentially be the SOPs like you're talking about. In fact, we have a meeting tomorrow morning to discuss that and then start getting that out in front of council. And so yes, and it'll be procedure. We'll add the procurement section and that what we're talking about here to the boards and commission side. But it's also going to be full procedure on meetings, running the meeting, minutes, what the chair's responsibility roles, all of that kind of abbreviated Robert's Rules stuff. And so we'll make sure, and I'm thinking for your board, a little bit different because you're specifically here to advise us on a particular funding source, and it's a significant funding source. So we may need to add an addendum to it for you all just to make sure we're capturing everything specific for what you all are working on. But yes, and apologies that we don't have that already, but it is something that's on deck to be considered.
Perfect. Any more questions about this Logitech's procurement process.
Sounds great.
Okay, cool.
And just move on to the next one. Social media advertising and access discussion. That's Steve.
That's-
Lisa.
So, me? Okay, yep. Yeah, it was just to bring up, how do we give access to VistaWorks
Okay,
for
so-
our tourism?
We have a meeting at 11 o'clock on Friday to do that.
Awesome.
And they have also agreed to help us with the wish trip, which now we have roles for, Joe. So you can go in and create nice little treks when you go out on your adventures. I'm really excited about it because they're also gonna help us with the OSO and the In Real Light event that we have coming up, so.
Good.
Definitely.
Cool, yeah, actually, Brett swung by the shop and was asking me about that as well, just about city promotion on that front. I know he was meeting with you.
Yeah, we met and he's talked with these folks, so we're chipping away at it, but we are coming up very quickly on the event.
Yep.
And we do recognize that, so.
So if we have time today, I do have a schedule and I can tell you guys what's going on.
Okay.
Cool.
I'm
Yeah,
gonna
I-
stay out there if we need-
Okay, cool.
Yeah, I kind of mentioned like,
Yeah.
as long as we're making noises about 3 weeks ahead.
Yeah,
feel
yeah.
Pretty good about it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
well, we have a lot of community related features going on in this event. So 3 weeks out is gonna give us plenty of time to bring the community out and have some fun.
Absolutely.
Plus, we have a couple events that they're gonna wanna come up for.
So I invited Lindsay and Brian here to address your questions and concerns, Jason, about social media advertising and access.
Yeah.
So Brian, feel free to jump in here with whatever you have to note on this.
I think you're muted.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention real quick, when we talked to Brett yesterday, he said he'd be getting us some information today, so I don't know. I haven't received anything from him, but I think he was talking to Steve about that.
Yeah, we met yesterday.
Okay, did he, has he sent anything to us? Lindsay hasn't received anything either. We just wanted to get started on some.
I talked with Brett this morning and he apparently is ill, so I don't know, but I will reach out to him after this meeting and, we'll have that conversation. I think maybe Marty and I can talk to him and we'll get that moving by tomorrow or the next day so we can get you some information.
I also have a zip folder for you that has all their logos, everybody's logo for all this stuff, and we'll get that over to you tomorrow morning.
Perfect. Was that Anissa?
Yes.
Who's talking?
Yes.
Okay, good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
And you're the center screen.
Does it have 3 cameras? I mean,
It's the
That's it.
Yeah, so it just,
it's this?
So going forward, Brian, is there anything that you need for us for social media?
No, I think the first thing we need is just that access, and we've got a meeting set up with Anissa and Kirsten to kind of get us into all the accounts.
Yep.
Awesome.
I was gonna suggest if you have a bunch of stuff in a zip drive, that we send you a link, Anissa, to a Google Drive, and then you can just upload stuff there.
Perfect, either that way or I can send you a OneDrive link and you can pull stuff out, whichever works best for you.
Okay, well, you probably can tell by the background that I'm in my car. If you wanna just send that immediately, we can do that. Lindsay's in the library, so she's keeping herself muted and, off camera, but she's gonna set up a Google Drive link right now, is what she's telling me.
Perfect,
And she can send that to you, and then you can upload, that'd be awesome.
perfect.
Yeah, Marty, you said, concerns or anything like that. Right now, I don't have any concerns. If Anissa's got the access, that makes me very happy. A lot of times we walk into someplace and we have no clue where to go or who's got access to what. This will be much easier, and then we can help promote the, start by promoting the IRL events and things like that. That'd be great.
Brian, just a question, Steve here, but
Yeah.
just a question in general, but then also for the IRL event. How do you all, working with us, determine the geographic reach for a particular event? How do we decide what what market we wanna, attract to things. Cause sometimes it's gonna be, we just want kind of local regional things, but sometimes we wanna get people to drive up from Albuquerque to Denver, that type of thing. So is there a good process to make those determinations?
Well, the process is, we have to figure it out per event.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, fair enough.
we actually asked all those questions right yesterday when we spoke to him, and we said, the idea was, it's kind of a last minute thing, and it's a new event, so we wanted to concentrate on folks that are close by and local.
Okay.
So he was part of, the stuff that he was supposed to give us was contact information, for instance, from a couple different radio stations that he's worked with locally. One in Raton, one local, and then one someplace else that he mentioned. So that'll be the IRO concentration. It's a fairly close drive distance and the local market.
So I sent you the contact information, or I sent it to Lindsay for Raton, Walsenburg, so she has those media contacts as well.
And then,
Okay, great.
Brett and I will be doing a radio interview either the end of this week or the beginning of next week about IRL and the OSO with KCRT, which is our local station.
Okay. And, I'm trying to relay information that he's sending me. But she said, if you guys if you could record the interview or at least transcribe it.
Yeah, they'll give us a recording of it. Yeah,
Yeah, that way
absolutely.
we can include information that they talk about in anything. Then we can write the press release that we talked about. And then we still, of course, need the information from Brett about the actual locations and just the logistics and times and things like that.
So I'm gonna give you most of that information because he's showing in one square area here between two streets. I have a map and all that other lovely stuff in that zip folder for you.
That's awesome. Okay, great. It's all in that zip folder. Just send it up and we should get a notification that you did, and that'll be it.
Beautiful.
Okay, and one last question. I want us to move on from this event because
I think we
can talk about
drifted
that
a bit
offline.
off of agenda.
Yeah, but so on the actual item, the social media advertising and access discussion, any other questions on that?
Not for me.
Oh,
No, I just want to give them access, that's
Yeah,
it.
absolutely.
So it's already done. We can
Okay.
move on.
Alright. So we're ready to move on to the next item, discussion of digital asset creation proposal. I'm guessing this is the one we had a meeting of,
Yeah.
for last.
And it ties in with item A. So just wanted to so I know, thank you, Jason, for putting quotes together, by the way. So I just wanted to make sure that we're all clear as staff too. And I know Joe has minutes drafted, but since we couldn't be there, so my understanding is we're wanting to do a video that highlights tourism.
So, a few things. So, one, we're giving access to VistaWorks,
Yeah.
and then we just want to give them a ton of assets to use.
Okay.
So, some of that is photography,
Yeah.
some of that's going to be a longer form video to try to cover up some of the bad ones that are out there on YouTube and stuff, and then also break it down into little short form,
Okay.
like what's popular, like, kind of like TikTok style, or like Instagram Reel that are just like 15-second videos to then use for social media marketing.
Right.
And you can all do that all in kind of one thing together.
Okay.
So yeah, it is a two-part proposal we requested the quotes on. So
Yeah.
one part is photography assets,
Right.
I believe 50 images,
Mhm,
and
yeah.
then the short-form video as well as those clips broken down.
So just real quick, Marty and I are going to run a photo contest
Yeah.
to get the photo assets.
Yeah.
Those will not be resale items, they will only be used for advertising Trinidad.
Yeah.
I feel strongly that we should move forward on a video,
Thank you.
but I feel we have the photos covered because we're gonna ask for specific photos
Yeah.
and give enough time to get those in. And I think that will allow our amateur photographers in the community to participate in getting us some really awesome photos.
Yeah, and one of the things
If we do both, it's only $250.
It's very cheap.
For the pictures,
for
really?
him, From David
Seriously.
Wire, he's extremely.
250.
250 for 50 images, and you're gonna get the regular photo, and then also cut down that fits Instagram and social media better.
Yeah, I mean,
That's a steal.
I think,
We should just do both, in my opinion.
yeah, that's fine.
Yeah.
One of the things though that I just want to mention though, that I really want from the photo contest is what we don't have in our digital assets for photos is a lot of pictures of actual people.
Right.
Enjoying the community. So that's something when we issue the photo contest,
Yep,
I'd like for us
We
to.
talked about that.
Yeah, good, okay.
Yeah, that's the biggest thing. I have the same issue when I try to find pictures to
Right.
use. There's no people, and if there are people, it's only a couple, and then it makes it look lonely. So we definitely need that crowd, imagery.
I agree with
Okay, that sounds good. I mean, I didn't realize, I guess I did realize, I just forgot it's only 250 for
Yeah.
50 photos.
Right, so I did have a conversation with Jeff,
Yeah.
I told him it was not off the table, that it wasn't
Right,
dead in the
that was-
water, that we were gonna have a discussion in today's meeting, and that I would contact him probably first thing in the morning and let him know whether or not it's yay or nay, are we gonna go forward, so obviously, it sounds like we're all in agreement that we should go forward with the 250.
I'm in favor.
Yeah.
25. Okay.
That's including the
So what do
video,
we
right?
have to do?
That's, yeah, the
Honestly,
policy.
Steve, I thought this was gonna be like 10 grand.
I know.
Yeah,
This is a
well,
steal.
it would have been,
And in general,
If it weren't Jeff.
the more assets, the merrier.
Okay.
Like, we can use them for years.
We'll find
Yeah.
ways to use them.
Yeah.
And the great thing with Jeff is he already did the stuff from like last Saturday, and he's got bits and pieces of other stuff for videos that can put.
I also
together.
have footage from the accessibility race and the
Yes.
chili contest that
Mhm.
Jeff did for us too, that we can send to them.
So I've been dropping photos into Lindsay and Brian's Google Drive,
Okay.
so they're receiving assets regularly, so as soon as I get these assets, Brian, I will drop those in that folder as well, so you have access to those, and then once the photo contest is complete, you can have access to those as well. So we'll keep all those assets moving along as we receive them, you'll have them.
Okay, that's good. And
Excellent.
then-
And you guys are talking about video too, and so I'm trying to piece together a lot of conversations happening at once here. You're gonna have B-roll, or you're gonna have finished video?
Both.
Someone is, or this,
Both.
okay.
Yeah.
If that video is too big to upload, Marty, we can send you a little thumb drive, or you can send us a thumb drive or something, and we can get it.
We can usually transfer it, but we transfer as
Perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll work great too.
Okay, good. So just, so we'll move forward with the proposal. That's good. And that's why we want to have the
Any
conversation.
next
But,
steps for us?
well, apparently we're not approving minutes today, right? So we still don't have that backup. But I'll tell you what, Marty's going to send out, I know, and it's okay. But Marty will send out that form, and maybe we'll just ask Ashley to fill it out on behalf of the board, so we have that to attach to the PO tomorrow, and then we're going to go in. Okay?
and then from
Thank
there
you.
it'll be all Marty and Sadie. And
Yeah.
the more that we can create workflow by dealing with her, the better. Because when she's gotta chase stuff down or doesn't understand what's going on or know what's going on, the process is that much longer.
Alright.
Okay.
Anything else on this topic?
I'm sorry to
Oh,
keep
go for
harping,
it.
but I just had a question for Brian. Since we are talking about this, from your perspective, is there anything specific we should be trying to look for in digital asset creation that we might not be thinking about?
Well, in terms of video, for sure getting vertical format so we can create reels and YouTube stories and things like that would be good. It's hard to go back in and crop video on the fly, so.
Yeah, Brian, just so you know, that is part of what they're creating. We're gonna have 10 of them to hand to you, 10 reels.
Yeah, and Anissa mentioned having people, that's awesome, a variety of people.
Yeah.
Variety of different types of backgrounds, ethnicities, dressed differently, different types of activities, anything that you can get that shows the full breadth of what's available in the community is great.
Okay, thank you.
Alright, anything else on this one? We're good? Alright, so we don't have a vote on anything in there. Let's look at the scenic outlook highway signage update, which kind of sort of got started before the meeting, but
Yeah.
what,
So I had a conversation with Bob just, he's just waiting for the weather to,
Yeah.
and he'll be up there with a screwdriver and get those signs down. I still haven't heard from, Kelly Hepler. She's the one that designed those original signs, and I don't know, what we need to discuss is what we need to put back up on those signs.
Right.
So do we wanna go with the original work that was up there, and I can produce that, I mean, get that to you so you can take a look at it? Or do we wanna do something different, since we're gonna have to reproduce it anyway? So once I send those to you, so you look to see what was existing before the graffiti, then we can decide how we wanna move forward with that.
Can you include me in that so I can make suggestions about, you know,
Absolutely.
Design.
QR codes, design, all that sort of thing?
Marty, who's our partner in this?
It was a
Is it
CDOT grant that we
Okay.
received,
Okay.
and we had an in-house designer at the time, well,
Yeah.
not in-house in our house, but
Yeah.
in our Canyons and Plains region.
Okay.
And so she was paid to design those panels, and then we used the grant to pay for the production.
Okay, and I'm just a little concerned, we spend money, put new ones up there, what would prevent them from getting tagged right away?
Well, and I did hear that there was some type of coating that you
Okay.
can put on these signs,
Yeah.
so that any graffiti that's painted on in the future
Okay.
can be wiped off, cleaned off. It doesn't, we don't have to do this again.
And that sort of flat design work is super easy for me,
Okay.
so if we need to reproduce it or add on to it, I'm happy to help you guys
I think
with
we
that.
should definitely at least add on to it.
I think it could be
Use
more
an update.
colorful.
Yeah.
you
There's
know?
like nothing
I
about
haven't
Fisher's
seen
Peak State Park
in
or
years,
anything, you know, like.
Yeah, and for refresh my memory, it's more about history and stuff like that?
Yes,
Okay,
it's
gotcha.
alright.
It's been a long time.
And if we
And
could just
it
get some
falls,
silver paint and paint the railing too.
well,
If
that's,
the
the
graffiti's
we
not,
can't touch the railings, that's CDOT property.
somebody can go up at midnight, you know, it just,
Right.
if you get rid of that, if you get rid of that graffiti,
Right.
then that won't tip.
Yeah, and we also have to, once Bob takes those panels out, it's raw wood, so we'll have to sand it and get that back to its original state as well.
And we should be able to get a clear glaze that's graffiti resistant. It won't prevent the paint from sticking to it, but you can just wipe it off.
Sweet.
I'd almost,
Hey,
yeah, go ahead.
real quick, I raised my virtual hand, sorry, I hate to interrupt. Anissa, I heard you mention QR codes. If you're working on the design, work with us too, and we'll put some tracking information
Absolutely.
in the QR codes so that we can tell, you know, how many people scan, and we'll work with you on landing pages and stuff like that on the website.
Beautiful.
You're doing the website. I
Yes.
know where to land them, but
Yes.
help with the tracking side.
But I will provide you with a folder full of QR codes labeled correctly so that you can take them and put some tracking into them if you like.
Yeah, we would have to regenerate.
That's fine, you can just,
Yeah.
you'll have the
If
QR.
you tell us, yeah, just give us the URL where you want
Sure.
it, and we'll generate them and give it back to you.
Sure.
Can you all design a QR code that has a little Fisher's Peak in the middle of it?
Sure.
Can,
You
yeah.
can design, you can do anything.
Seriously, I think that would be super cool.
Yeah, there's a lot of apps that do it.
Yeah,
Yeah, absolutely.
cool.
Okay. I think that's it for that one, unless anybody has anything else. No. Last is, the old business is a tourism management grant discussion. I had mentioned this in our last regular meeting, kind of briefly. Are we going to, it's kind of a short deadline now, it's, January 30th. Yeah, so it may be too short. Yeah.
But there is another tourism grant coming up, forget what the next one's called. We looked at it.
I can't remember. They're on a
Marketing
pretty
grant,
regular
tourism
rotation.
marketing grant is the next one.
The marketing grant won't come out until about September.
Okay.
Oh, that's gonna be, that's.
They're on a rotation, so this one will come around again.
What is this grant pay for? Sorry, my ignorance.
Go ahead, Brian.
Brian's an expert on this.
Okay.
Well, the tourism management grant they're both annual. The tourism management grant are non-marketing activities.
Okay.
So things like the signage project that you're actually talking about,
Yeah.
it could pay
Yeah,
for some of the reproduction of the signage. if you'd like, but you have, like you said, it's a short turnaround time.
Yeah, it's 4 to 1, up to 20,000.
It's not huge.
Yeah,
So
it's
it's
got a
not like a big
$5,000 match, and then they would contribute 20.
I'd say let's keep this on our radar for next year.
Yeah.
It's just, it's gonna be a lot of work and a lot of administration, and I feel like we still are kind of getting organized on everything else.
Well, and Brian and Lindsay said, we could do this if you would get it going now, but
Yeah,
it's like, we've got so many things on their plate and they'll hit the ground running, so I think it would be inconsiderate of us to add something more to their plate right now.
Yes.
and I don't wanna belabor this point, but what I would say is, why don't we take the opportunity then, to come up with a signed plan?
Okay.
So that way we actually have a full plan in place and we know what we're doing, and that'd be a good attachment to a grant application like this.
And one of the biggest things, if everybody forgets about signage, is a plan to maintain them.
Yeah.
You know, every couple years.
Yeah.
That's what gets left out of the budget.
Can we create a Friends of the Signs?
More boards?
Just we touched base on that, good, we're moving right along. On to new business.
Yeah.
The first was the marketing proposal from Gravel Adventure Guide.
Yeah, so this was part of our special meeting. I don't know if you guys were able to listen to the recording or anything.
Yeah.
I think we kind of just want to make a call on it one way or another, or if we want to kick it back to them with any suggestions or requests, we can send it back to Stephen as well. So, obviously we couldn't really discuss that with him on the phone with limited time. So,
Steve Beneski, is that?
yeah, that's
Okay.
yep.
So are they requesting funds for this? Is that?
Yeah, it's a proposal. It is an advertising campaign. There are 3 components to it. The first one is basically influencer marketing. So this dude, Ben Delaney, who's out of Boulder, he would come down, stay 2 nights in Trinidad, and ride 2 of the routes in the gravel guidebook. The cost for that portion is about $5,000. He would post a 20-minute video recap that we would also get a copy of to use on the Visit Trinidad website and share on his social media as well as a 30-second Instagram video. And I believe he also said some photos, about 20 iPhone photos per day that he would share with us. And he's supposed to come down with like a friend as well, so it's not just him. His YouTube has close to 25,000 subscribers, so decent reach for sure.
Okay.
The second component is an advertorial and photos on this website called The Radavist. As someone who's plugged into cycling, this is a huge website, particularly in the gravel and adventure riding community. That is their niche. It's probably the biggest name in that game. So I'm really going to go on this portion in particular. I think one thing we were wondering about was like metrics, basically the media kit from the Radavist, and I don't know if Steven provided that.
Yeah, he did send it to me.
Oh,
I forgot to send it to
That's
him.
obvious. I think it's probably still worthwhile. It's just always hard for me, like the advertorial type content doesn't perform as well as real native content, but it's still good exposure. But basically, Gravel Adventure Field Guide will write and post an advertorial story on their blog. It will get shared on their social media, presumably. And it will promote like an itinerary to stay and ride, so like a 1 night, 2-day ride concept that would dovetail with what the Boulder guys do.
So I have a couple of things that I have to say.
Yeah.
Okay? While it's all great that these presentations or proposals are made to you individual board members, the ultimate decision is made by city staff. And so one of the things going forward that I would like to see us do is everyone that makes a funding request for tourism funding needs to fill out a funding request form. And that gives us the information on the organization, that gives us a clearer picture of what the money is being spent for. I mean, hearing from you details and stuff like that is all great, but I'm not gonna retain that. So to have it in writing is also a good way to be able to have any funding request has to follow up with a report. So you request money, I have to have a report to make sure that the money is spent the way they proposed it. So a funding request has to have a follow-up report, just like any grant would have. So if you apply for a grant, you have to have a grant report after, you've received the money and your event is taken care of. So I think it's vitally important that they fill out an application. I know it's.
available online.
I'm not sure that, from my understanding, and I don't really know much, but from my understanding, this would not be like a funding request, like they're asking for money for a festival or anything. They want us to pay for advertising in their, like a magazine.
Yeah, so
Or,
Yeah,
so that's what I was
our
thinking,
marketing
this
agency.
maybe would be something we would give to these
I was just
guys.
gonna say, we need to
And-
kick it to them.
Yeah,
They have a marketing budget,
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Right.
so maybe if they would like to move forward on one of those proposals, they can use it out of that.
Right, so that was my
budget.
second point. Now that we have a marketing and advertising agency, they should see all these things that are marketing or advertising related, so that they can make the decision to move forward with those types of things as well.
And include it in their strategy, and also assess whether it's beneficial, or if it's something that we need to engage in, or if it's something they already have planned. I think that we need to be really cautious about all things, like engaging in, news articles at this time before consulting the marketing firm and coming here and talking about what we intend to talk about or what we would like to propose, because it all rolls together, our reputation, our advertising, our marketing, and they're in charge of it, so I'd like them to propose to us, and we just send people their way.
Well, I would take it back one step and say that's kind of exactly what we're doing right now. Because none of this has been decided.
Oh, yeah.
So yeah, you
I
guys
just
mostly need
wasn't
a.
sure if this was the appropriate paperwork.
It's not.
No, not for that.
Okay,
I
So-
didn't know if they were coming to us and asking for X amount of dollars. If that was the case, then yes, they would have to follow that
Yeah, this
procedure.
it's a marketing and advertising campaign proposal. So,
Slash asset type.
There was
it's a
another video in
three-piece,
there as well.
advertising campaign.
Gotcha.
So mostly we need to get a copy of this proposal, to you two and over to Mr.
Yeah.
Brooks, so you can look at it from there. The other thing I would say is, well, obviously we respect and probably in most cases defer to what Mr. Brooks is doing as part of their strategy. I think the board is still gonna steer some level of input to say like, oh, here's the thing that we really want you guys to work in.
Oh, sure,
So,
sure.
They
just need to be a part of it.
Yeah, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah, Vista Works can close their ears right now, but they're a contractor on our behalf, so absolutely, they want, I'm speaking on your behalf, Brian, but I would assume you want direction from us on what we're looking for. We'll certainly
Yes.
want your input, but any marketing, anything like this should all be led by us here locally.
So, go ahead, Ryan.
I can say real quick, what we've told Marty is, anytime that you receive, pitches, proposals, advertising, requests, things like that, she can just send them all to us, but we're not gonna make any final decisions on anything
Right.
without passing it by you guys. We'll vet it and say, this is ridiculous, we're not even gonna consider that. We'll bring things that for sure are applicable to you, to the board, we also are in the, we've already crafted an initial kind of budget out of that 144K. And we were going to present that first draft to Marty tomorrow. We've got a meeting scheduled for tomorrow. See what she thinks, see if there, get her opinion on what the board would think. And then present it to you guys at your next meeting and get your feedback and everything for that budget. So it's a good segue for this conversation.
Cool. Yeah, I'm glad that we're discussing all this in terms of how we all need to be working together. So yeah, I'll get you guys copies of the proposal. The last thing, just to let you know, the last component of it, this is the most expensive portion, is a new short film. So if you guys haven't seen it, they have a very cute, like Wes Anderson style promotion video for that first gravel field guide that they shot on site here in Trinidad. So basically a new one of those. So same style, new video, but we could use that for things like advise. So that's like a 2 or 3 minute, like 2 minute video, a 10-second social media teaser, and they'll do all the production work on that. But that portion is 13 grand, so it's very pricey. The total overall investment for all 3 parts would be $24,500. So yeah, I will make sure, Marty, that you have this and that you can share out with Vista Works. We can go ahead and just talk about it next go around and see what everybody thinks.
So yeah, that was gonna be my question. So when we do kick things over to you guys, so like this is our meeting, we'll have our next meeting on the 23rd, and then we'll have our next meeting the second Tuesday of February. How long before us giving you something, before you can give us an update on what you think about that?
Well, with something like the budget, you wanna try to get that figured out ASAP, because it sort of dictates the rest of the year, right?
Yeah.
So, if you wanted to commit to 24,000 from the gravel, the road and gravel out of the 144,
I'm not
Yeah,
really
we
talking
wanna-
about
we wanna
moving
move that.
forward. No, I think you're misunderstanding me. Like your
Okay.
opinion, say we give you this proposal, you take a look at it, you decide whether or not it's worth your time going to do it. When would you be able to give us that feedback?
Weekly, really. I mean, I imagine Marty gets pitches all the time. Everybody else does.
Yeah.
So you're gonna be
So,
sending all your
we just
pitches
say,
to them now too?
forward them to us, take a few days to look at it, and then we give our opinion back.
Right.
We just want
It's
them
not
to
gonna
get
be months.
I would also, just as a side note, I mean, we have some level of funding available to us above and beyond what we have for Vista Works in terms of our marketing and advertising funds for the year. That's
That's what they're basing their budget on.
Oh, gotcha, the
Yeah.
full
Yeah.
spend, I
Yeah.
see.
And so that's, but now is a good time. I want us to do sooner than later, maybe like a work session of this group, where we take that pot of 144, and that's the overarching line item, but I think it's really important that we break it down into categories, so that way we have kind of an established budget. So, for example, these types of things that we're talking about, but then also, how much do we want to put to advertising local fairs, festivals, that type of thing. So that way, it's not just this massive pot of money, we actually have some rhyme and reason as to how we're gonna allocate it,
Not super ad hoc.
planning for the year. So I'll work with Marty, but we'll get that on your calendars here probably in the next couple of weeks, if you guys are open to that.
Yeah.
And I think that'd be a really good thing.
Cool, okay, cool. That's probably all for now on this line item.
Anybody have anything else on that? No, we're good.
That's great.
Next item on the agenda is the VRBO tax collection. I think we just wanted to revisit whether or not we have.
So I actually started doing some homework on this, talked to a support person who gave me their legal email. About all he was able to tell me was that most likely we have to pass a city ordinance that mandates it.
We already have.
Oh,
We
so
have it,
that's-
so they're in violation of our city
yeah,
ordinance.
so we just need to get that to their legal team. The
Okay.
email address is literally legal@vrbo.com. I don't know what else we can do to lean on them, but he just said if you have the ordinance, they have to do it. There is a whole list of Colorado municipalities that they are collecting for,
Okay.
that they publish on their website.
Yeah.
So you can easily point a finger and say, well, you're doing it for so-and-so, so you can do it for us.
That's perfect. So I did some research as well. So VRBO was very late in the game on collecting lodging tax. And so what cities would do in the past, my understanding is, if you sign up for VRBO, it'd be your responsibility as the local operator of that property to report local lodging tax to the jurisdiction. Some cities like Santa Fe, who have an entire department dedicated to short-term rentals, they're able to administer that. We definitely don't have the resources to go after the individuals, but sometime that changed, to Joe's point. We're now just like Airbnb, they'll collect the lodging tax and remit it to us on behalf of their properties. So thank you, Joe, for kind of doing the research on how we get that to them. We'll get a certified copy of our ordinance over to them.
Cool.
And then Cheryl can talk, hopefully we can find some there, because they'll need to go directly to Cheryl. She's the official who collects the lodging tax. So we'll have to figure out the logistics on that. But we'll definitely give them that ordinance and let them know you guys have to start, providing this to us. Does anybody have any idea how many VRBOs roughly we have?
So when I was filling up the app and I was looking for short-term rentals in the area, there's multiple listings for single units, so that kind of confuses it, but there's enough where we're losing money.
Even if there's one.
There's at least a dozen. I did a quick search for a few different
Okay.
weekends,
Yeah.
and there were probably 6 to 10 available on any given weekend.
And that's just the ones that publish their stuff, to the public, like we'll leave an address or an area or whatever. The other ones are a little bit harder to tell because you can't really see an address or their real name or know who they are. So them collecting it for us is gonna be a lot easier than trying to.
There's a third category that we really should think about. So things that are not on VRBO or Airbnb, like bed and breakfast, anything that's a short-term rental like that is subject to lodging tax. And there's a handful of them that I think are probably, not paying us too. So again, if you guys see anything that looks suspicious, let us know. And then we have all records of who's reporting lodging tax, and we can cross-reference that. And then at a minimum, get them a letter saying this is a requirement, here's the schedule, here's the form, all of that stuff. I don't know if Craigslist is still a thing, but like those are the types of things where sometimes people go outside of the formal agencies and try to do short-term rentals on their own. We still want to catch those. So just putting that out there for everyone's thoughts.
Yes. Anything else on this? We're moving right along, guys.
Perfect.
Hotel shuttle route and process is next.
So, based on the former or previous hotel shuttle route process that we followed, was to contact each of the hotels that are outlying, not within the city, but outlying, and seeing if they would be interested in collaborating with us on that. Would they be interested in, the shuttle, the van, going to their establishment or their hotel and picking people up and bringing them downtown. So that's the first step. The second, once we have those, then we can develop a route. And then I printed out a list of events for 2024 for each of us, so we can look at that and see if there's particular events that we think that would be, a way that we can figure out whether or not it's viable for us to use the van to pick people up and bring them downtown. Like First Friday art walks and things like that. Those are obviously, good reasons to bring people downtown.
Yeah. So in order to get a shuttle going, I imagine you'll have to hire someone, or do you guys already have someone that does that?
We don't need, it doesn't have to be somebody that has a particular license. Any city employee can drive the van at this time. So if we did hire somebody particularly for that position, I don't know if we have the funding to do something like that, or if that would come out of lodging taxes.
One of the things that we spoke about in a meeting that we had about this space and how to get employees was on demand, maybe a city employee wants some extra hours, that sort of thing.
Right.
And I think right now when we're first trying to get things off the ground, that'd probably be the best way to go about doing it.
Well, my thought process was whether or not someone would be available at certain times,
Like 6 o'clock at night.
like say like Friday, Saturday nights, have someone. I mean, I don't know if a regular route would be feasible. I don't imagine it'd be getting used so much unless we actually had something going on. But just some regular smegular Friday night, could we do something on demand? Say, hey, we have an employee that's gonna be here to drive the shuttle around this Friday, and let your guests know it's available if they want it.
So,
like that.
Exactly.
I think I've mentioned this before, but a lot of residents and people in Raton ask about the possibility of setting up a shuttle to maybe come and shop or to visit an event. And the tourism van is quite spacious and comfortable, and that would be something that would bring revenue as well.
Yeah.
Little day trips, or, you know, evening.
How many people does it hold?
10.
Yeah. And it has a wheelchair lift.
Yeah, Hollister's awesome too.
That's nice.
Yeah, and it's easy to drive. I drove it down to Raton to get the Solano hats. It's easy, yeah.
So Donna and I put together a volunteer form so that we could start looking for people that would be available to drive that, what hours. It has a whole, you know, days that you're available, hours that you're available, events that you would like to work, things like that. So we just got that done yesterday, and then we'll start circulating that to city staff and seeing who we can get. So we'll get a driver on board and move forward. So it's, that ball's rolling, it's just kind of a slow roll.
I'll definitely help out if I can.
Everything is with the city.
It's a slow roll, but I mean, we're not in the
But we're
tourism
doing
season
it.
yet, there's not a whole lot of events going on right now, so now's the time to work on this and get it done.
So, Marty, two questions. So, I think for this year, maybe a statement and a question. For this year, let's just focus on providing the service. Maybe when we reach to the warm season, I agree on Friday nights, that might be a good thing, but certainly tied to the events. And we might want to, at some point, go through and really kind of establish which ones, not all of them probably need this. But have we ever established an actual route?
Yes,
Okay, so
we
that's
did.
already,
Once we identified the hotels that wanted to participate,
okay,
so that we could figure out where it's gonna go from point A to point B and pick up people and bring them in. Obviously, we were using the trolley for that, so we had a larger capacity. This would only be 10 people, so if there's 10 people from the Holiday Inn right off the bat, we would have to make multiple trips. But yeah, we did establish a route. I had a map that, you know, was posted at each of the hotels, and, you know, the times when the trolley would arrive and depart and return and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it's not a hard thing to put together.
okay, and then for major events though, I still think we should use the
It's
trolley.
a trolley,
Absolutely,
Yes.
and the van.
Or both.
Yeah. Or both.
Exactly.
Or
Exactly.
both.
It's
Yeah.
like 420 Festival, Santa Fe Trail Days,
Yeah.
we get to big music festivals this summer, absolutely, let's
Yeah.
provide people that safe option year round.
Yeah.
The other thing that ties into this is we're hoping in the next year or two to update the golf carts at the golf course. But that's gonna leave us, you know, several reasonable gas-powered golf carts, and I'd really like to see those deployed to help get people around, especially
Yes.
in town.
Yeah, we got a lot of feedback about that. If you
Yeah.
remember in our breakout session
Yeah.
with the Stantec survey when we had here,
Yeah.
people were really talking about how hard it is for them to get around and would love to be able to hop on a golf cart
Yeah.
and go around. And even me with, you know, my back, it's hard.
So we'll definitely, okay, cool.
Awesome. Anything else on this subject? All right, the last one I have is funding request from the Trinidad Triggers.
So Kim, that's you, you're up.
Oh, it's Kim, yes. She may be stepping away.
Yeah, she's been on the whole time.
Yeah.
Sorry,
Hi.
Kate.
There she is.
I just talked out of the board meeting at East Car Block.
I know. Thank you.
You see chairs. I thank you for this opportunity. It's nice to see everybody. There's a tremendous amount of exciting opportunity on the horizon. Mr. Ruger, Marty, Mr. Nisa, board members, again, thank you for, first, I'm essentially here to, first of all, say thank you to the city of Trinidad for all of the support we've had over the years. We're going 13 with the Trinidad Triggers, professional baseball club. And I'll tell you, both the Triggers are hot. Just the sheer fact that the city of Trinidad has invested the amount of money into the stadium, fixes, it's just absolutely amazing. And everybody's going, yeah, Trinidad is serious, they're on board. Marty and I go way back. We were colleagues at the Chamber of Commerce during my tenure, and Anita and I, she worked on this campaign, extensively with me, the triggers, multitude of others. Essentially, I'm looking for collaboration and liaison with the city of Trinidad. That's where the conversation started with Marty. Last year, the Main Street Board took a different shape and had different votes, and they were not necessarily, wanting to involve themselves with the Independence Day celebration. Can you guys hear me? I'm on my headset.
Sound good?
Hear me? And so they basically divested, that. When I say that, I'm referring to the Independence Day celebration, which is, it's definitely a lot of work and it's a great event. So my conversation with Marty just in talking with Marty, he's, the triggers need a liaison, we need to, pull our relationship together with the city of Trinidad, and the police department seem like a fit. I'll have 25 men here from all over the world, from May till the end of July, hopefully through the middle of August, going into playoffs. We're going to take the championship this year. We've had a couple of really good winning seasons. With the upgrades at the ballpark, we know that we're going to have capacity crowds. The Christmas are our bigger event. And, again, I just want to pull together the relationship, the fact that, we represent the city of Trinidad. I'll spend anywhere from, last year I hit right at $50,000 in hotel, with 240 room nights, that's per day. And so, and that's, we hope, I'm just Trinidad, so that's completely Trinidad's for your budget. And it's rigorous, raising money for this team. I had put together just a draft of ideas of how we collaborate. The transportation piece is a big one for us. We've got some extensive road trips this year, and they're usually during the week when we travel, or at least the bigger ones are. And, conversation of being tracking some of the players in that band who are away games and promoting the city of Trinidad along the way, makes it value added. We will be going to Nebraska, Kansas, Oklahoma, Texas, New Mexico, everywhere that the temperatures exceed ours by stretch. And so, we're in a position where I've got a lot of capable guys that are able to deliver brochures, promote events, hang door mats, whatever it looks like to promote the city of Trinidad and our events. So that's kind of where this proposal came from. The bottom line to me is, yes, we're definitely always looking for funds. If we could, possibly negotiate a little bit still on the way, we'd be tremendously grateful. Maybe the use of the van, with city employee scenario for a couple of these maximum, trips. And that's primarily due to the fact that I have, a lot of international guys coming in, they don't have vehicles or, anything of that nature. So, I'm sincere, I'm going to say thank you for, your investment into the community and, the potential of possibly working together, and establishing a relationship with the tourism department and the Trinidad Triggers. Something that, has that feel, we're branded, we're all on the same page, we voted. I have lots of photos of the crowd, and really good footage. Brad Kirby is our photographer, and he photographs every day. So that's where I'm at on this. I'm just looking for opportunity. I'm looking for collaboration, and the possibility of relationship where we bring value to people, or maybe some of the assets or whatever it looks like in the city of Trinidad. And that includes being included with the advertising messages. If you're bringing people out of the hotels for downtown entertainment, bringing them to the ballpark is, a great idea in my mind. Oh, anyway, does anybody have any questions or thoughts?
I do real quick, Kim. Where are you at on having somebody to work on creating your content, or do you need help with that? As far as what you put out to promote the games and, you know, besides the events, like what I used to do for you. Are you set up with somebody, or do you need help with that?
Well, no, I don't have it anymore, and so.
Okay, so let me segue onto that question, Kim.
Yeah,
So, obviously, we have a marketing and advertising agency now, so I don't see this proposal as much different as what we just discussed with the gravel adventure guide. So, let's send this proposal to Brian, because he doesn't have anything else to do now. Have him take a look at it and see where we stand with that.
I also have some really great assets from the time that I worked with the Triggers. I could see this being a good partnership. The Triggers are a big part of Trinidad. People love baseball, but I need to stress that this is a professional league. This is not some high school thing or college thing. This is a pro league, and if we're going to make the Triggers work, we're gonna have to do it as Trinidad. It can't just fall on the Triggers' shoulders. And Kim being the only person, and I worked with her, so I know she's the only person out there getting sponsorships, marketing, talking to people about the Triggers, and I think having some of the marketing firms' attention to have her back and the Triggers back would be incredibly important for our summer season and their baseball season.
Agreed.
thank you, I truly appreciate that more than you know. It's been 13 years now on that pitch, and so, and everything's coming together, and it's just getting better and better. Really, this opportunity with this professional team, we have 16 other teams in the league, from California to Nebraska to Oklahoma, Texas, Kansas, New Mexico, and Colorado. The sheer fact that we're the smallest market in the entire league is the fact that our toes are right there dancing with everybody else in these bigger cities. It's one of those opportunities that we wouldn't be able to have again if the rights were recreated, if it went away today and wanted to bring it back tomorrow. It's a special asset and affinity that Trinidad has, and we have a great fan base, and I appreciate it. Anita, whatever help I can get, like you said, you've got that branding, you've got those pieces. I've developed a content calendar for social media that I'd like to just get, into the system and done, so it's done its thing. QD moved away, and so our next big restaurant collaboration is with tequila.
That's amazing. That's beautiful.
I know, it is.
That's beautiful. And so, throughout the last season that I worked with the Triggers, the season before that, we had a couple guys go to the big leagues and play for them. We had international players come here from Japan and play. These are big deals, and I think getting it out to the public is cool. Kim, I'll be willing to help you with some of the stuff that we did prior, where we had the guys go out and do promos at businesses, because I think that would be real easy just to send out an email and see who would like to have them there when they come into town.
So cutting back to lodging tax funding, so Kim, I owe you a text, by the way, I saw it. Do you have some time maybe to chat tomorrow?
Absolutely.
Okay, I'll give you a call, and that way we can just talk on the phone. But what I was going to mention is we also have a pot of money in lodging tax for arts and cultural events.
Mm-hmm.
And I believe wholeheartedly this would fall under the cultural event type of thing. So what I would suggest as well, I think it's more than appropriate for us to support the Triggers as much as we deem appropriate, certainly on the marketing and advertising side. But when we have that work session to talk about breaking down that advertising budget, let's also look at the $50,000 that we have for arts and culture as well. You already have a request in from the Mitchell. Alice in England is planning to come to you all with a request to support the Main Street Live, and then the Triggers would be another one, so we can start really crafting how we want to allocate that money as well. So just wanted to throw that out for everybody's benefit, but so I think when we get to that work session, that'll be a terrific time to talk about specifically how we can support Kim. But I totally agree with Marty. In the meantime, let's get your proposal over to VistaWorks and have them take a look at it and make some thoughts.
Yeah, and Brian, you're still tuned in there. I would just kind of put a bug in here. We talked about doing like some type of weekend giveaway type deal, promotion, and pulling the triggers into that. I think is a slam
Yeah.
dunk.
Yeah.
That's just like a VIP package.
Did you say pulling the trigger on that?
No,
Sorry.
fully.
So you didn't see the shirts that I made for them? Cause it says, pull the trigger.
Yeah, I think that'd be a cool thing to include for a full weekend
Yeah.
experience.
Yeah, absolutely. And then, just promoting the fact that we have this newly renovated ADA compliant baseball stadium.
Yeah. And Kim, another question for you is, with the group here, how can the lodging tax board help non-financially? Is there anything else that, we can do to assist? I know you always are trying to find homes for players, that type of thing. Do we need to move on?
It's the hierarchy of needs, really. I mean, it's housing, it's food, it's wellness, and really being included in the marketing plan of the city of Trinidad.
Yeah. So if we do a grand reopening and we involve the Triggers players, we could possibly let that stand as a fundraiser for them.
Okay, well, I think that's good. Kim, we need to move on. Thank you so much. And I'll give you a call tomorrow. We'll chat some more.
Thanks, Kim.
Okay.
Bye.
These are all the, thank you.
Play catcher.
And I play catcher. I can't play games.
Alright, so that was the last item on the new business agenda. Next is miscellaneous from board members, and I think Joe has something.
I have one thing I passed around. It's pretty straightforward. Trinidad Trails Alliance is pursuing the grant from Colorado Parks and Wildlife to expand trails on the wormhole. This grant, it's about $6,500, and it would fund Tony Boone Trails to come down and flag and plan 2 miles of trail there. So I have a letter of support here. Just wanted you guys to read through it really quick. Let me know if you're okay with me sending this on behalf of the board. Actually, I have you as the signatory person since you are the chair. So just make sure everyone's comfortable with this before I send it out. But yeah, it's all pretty straightforward stuff.
Thanks for doing that.
I already read it, though, so